Hi there, here's just a couple of ideas for stuff I want to make, but can't because uni and I don't really have time. I'll get to them eventually, but I'm kind of just putting them out there in case someone else nicks them. Uh, no. I came up with it. I didn't make it first, but I came up with it. Hopefully I made it first. Hopefully this whole recording I'm making now becomes redundant and pointless and not true of real life. Anyway, here's a couple ideas I have. The first is like the forgotten Donkey Kong game Nintendo wants you to forget about. It's about Donkey Kong Jr. I forgot to say math. It's about Donkey Kong Jr. math. That's a very important distinction. I think it was re-released on Wii Virtual Console, but it wasn't on the Wii U. It's not on Switch Online. It's a bit clickbaity, but that's the point. Then there's a video out, a jump rope challenge, that like eShop game. Something like the free abandoned eShop game you can play now. I need the word like first party on it. Nintendo's free eShop game you can play now that they abandoned. Something like that. We'll figure out the fine print later. That is. It's got everything abandoned. Ooh, lost media, when it's really not. But I've seen so many like people call things lost just because they're released on like the PS3 had decent success and then didn't get re-released. But like, point is, it's clickbait shit and drivel, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, it'd be about jump rope challenge, and that's it. You can justify saying like abandoned or something because it didn't really get any promotion. It had one fairly big update for what it was out of nowhere a little after release. But yeah, just something like jump rope challenge, clickbaiting the fact it's free, it's first party, and no one really knows about it apparently. I want to do something like the NES Programmer series. These are games like Excite Bike or Wrecking Crew, the NES games with level editors built into them. I just think that would be interesting to look at. Like, not necessarily, you go, it's the NES programming series, you can make your own stuff. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's Wrecking Crew and Excite Bike. But it'd be good to look into that to see if there's any more intricacies. And also if I can remember if there were any more games that featured that. Because if there's any more than those two, then that's a good, like, video. Because, you know, it's not Wrecking Crew or Excite Bike, it's something else. In general, I feel like doing a video about the NES Blackbot games would be really good. There's you could also split it into multiple videos because there's like the action series, then there's the programming series, there's the sports series. There's also an educational series with one game in it. Guess what that might be? Haha. Anyway, those are like the solid ideas. I did think them through, and I was gonna sort of script this with the titles like proper, but I thought, why bother? I'm just gonna ramble about it. Then there's Nintendo X Square. That's not really a solid idea. That's just something I want to make. Talk about the relationship between Nintendo and Square Enix. Mainly because the Mario sports games, like, everyone knows about them. But how did they happen? So yeah, I want to get that done. A couple of, like, those are like my, what, 5 solid ideas. One a little less than the others, but whatever. Here's just some throwaway things I've got on my mind. So the company that made Samari, Hummer, was it? Anyway, the company that made the Samari NES bootleg, the Sumeri team, they made a Donkey Kong bootleg as well, which is for the NES. I think it's a backport of Donkey Kong Country, which I've wanted to look at for a while. Donkey Kong Land, I also had in mind for a decent time, but then Derek from Good Vibes Gaming made a video on it. A very solid video. I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh, Derek beat me to... No, it's a really solid video. Check it out. If anything, I'm glad he did it because someone I respect got to it before someone to clickbait it. Anything else? Any other solid, quote-unquote, solid ideas I had in mind? No, not really. The other stuff's just kind of my thing, where it's like not really a topic that I think could get bare clout. It's just something I want to do. The Evangelion N64 game, the Blues Brothers Nintendo 64 game, Clue Land, maybe Devil's World. Dr. Mario is a terrible game to play while sick. I did make that. I feel like it could be more than I made it, just because I kind of did it with the sake of getting something out really quick to make myself feel better while sick. But that could be something good to expand on. The issue is you genuinely have to be sick during the whole production. You could just contract coronavirus. Anyway, anything else? 1-2 Switch. I want to make a video about that. I was going to for Christmas this year, but because the whole thing with uni and stuff lining up, it's not a great idea. But it could be good if I do it next year at the point where like Nintendo are closer to maybe releasing a Switch successor, because then I could be like, oh, let's look back at the start of the Switch, which is almost 6 years old, by the way. Yeah, that was it. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, my ideas, you little. I got a fucking knife, mate.